So Real Broker is a cloud-based brokerage, and obviously that gives us some pretty major advantages as real estate agents. But if I am being honest, there are some trade-offs that come along with that. So today I want to take a no BS look at what are the pros and cons of joining a cloud-based brokerage like Real Broker. And real quick, if you have any other questions that I don't address in this video, or you'd like to set up a one-on-one video call with me to talk about Real Broker, send me an email at malcolm@livinginmaryland.com, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions about Real Broker. So one of the most obvious drawbacks to joining a cloud-based brokerage is that you're not going to have that face-to-face interaction anymore with other people in your brokerage. And by face-to-face, I really mean physically in the same space, because I still have face-to-face interactions. I have interactions with my clients when I do buyer consultations over Zoom, or I do Zoom calls with other agents that are thinking about joining Real Broker, or I do Zoom calls with other agents just to mastermind and learn from each other. But if I'm being honest, that's not quite the same as physically being in the same space. And in my opinion, I think that there's really two different categories of real estate agents that are going to be most impacted by this. The first one is going to be extroverts. So we obviously attract a lot of extroverts to our career as real estate agents, and a lot of those people, they love going to their brokerage and just talking to everybody, right? They talk to other agents, they talk to their clients, they talk to the staff at the brokerage. Those type of people, I think, are going to be most impacted by not having that physical connection. My mom's a real estate agent. I'm exactly describing her. When she goes in for training, she usually gets there about an hour early and just chats with all her friends at the brokerage. She usually stays there an hour late and again just talks everybody up. That's just her personality type. And the truth is that she won't get that exact experience with a cloud-based brokerage. But in my opinion, there are other ways that she can kind of scratch that social itch. For example, my mom is a member of the Women's Council of Realtors, and she can still be a member of them and still meet up in person and kind of socialize and network with other agents in that way. Women's Council of Realtors also puts on a lot of in-person training which she can attend. And her and I are both members of the National Association of Realtors and the Maryland Association of Realtors, which does hold in-person training quite often. And there's also quite a lot of in-person free continuing education within our area, usually is sponsored by a title company or a home warranty company or a mortgage company. So if she wants to get out of her house and go socialize with some other agents and do some in-person training, there's a lot of other options that she still has available to her outside of her brokerage. And I also want to point out that most brokerages will allow any agent to attend training within their brokerage. They do this as a recruiting tool. They're hoping that you go to the brokerage, enjoy the training so much that you will then join that brokerage. So if this is kind of a major concern of yours, I would call around. Call the RE/MAX and Century 21 and Keller Williams offices in your area and ask them like, hey, if I'm not a member of your brokerage, can I still attend the training at your office? And most of them will say yes. Now there's another category of agents that I think is going to be impacted by not physically being within an office, and that's going to be newer agents that have just a lot of questions and are still kind of familiarizing themselves and getting used to the real estate industry. Being able to just walk down the hall and ask your broker a question or ask your team leader a question is pretty helpful when you're a brand new agent. And to this point, I would just say that with Real Broker, you absolutely can still get all of your questions answered. It would just be in the form of a phone call or an email or a video call with your broker or team leader or whoever else. So the only thing that you're really giving up is just physically being in the same space as them rather than being on the phone with them. Like all decisions in life is going to be a balancing act. And if this is something that you're pretty concerned about and you really value being able to physically walk down the hallway and hope that your broker's in his office so you can ask him a question, I would ask you to try to put a dollar amount on that. If you could join a brokerage and the services were a la carte, how much would you pay to be able to physically ask your broker a question rather than call him on the phone or send him an email? Is that worth $1,000 a year to you? Is it worth $5,000 a year? $10,000 a year, $15,000 a year to be able to physically ask somebody a question instead of talking to them on the phone? And I ask this because my cap at my last brokerage was $28,000 a year, plus another $6,000 a year for my office. So by me switching to Real Broker, I am saving $22,000 a year. So for me personally, being able to physically walk down a hallway and talk to somebody in person instead of calling them on the phone or sending them an email, that value is not worth $22,000 a year to me. So I think that's a great segue into the next pro of joining Real, which is that we have an 85-15 commission split and only a $12,000 cap a year. Now, in my opinion, the 85-15 commission split is not all that relevant if you are a full-time agent and you know that you are going to cap every single year. All that really determines is when in the year you're gonna cap. Is it gonna take you 6 months to cap, or 3 months to cap, or just 1 month to cap? But I think that commission split is very relevant if you are a brand new agent or a part-time agent and you know that you're probably not going to cap that year. So let's say you're only gonna close 3 deals a year. Maybe you're a part-time agent. Well, when I was with Keller Williams, I used to have to give them 35% of every one of those commissions that I earned, and that was not enough for me to cap. But with Real, you only need to give them 15% of each of those 3 commissions. So in the end, if you only do 3 transactions and you do not cap, you are going to earn more money with Real than you will most other brokerages because of that very generous 85-15 commission split. Now let's talk about the $12,000 cap that Real offers. That is incredibly low. My last cap at my last brokerage was $28,000 a year. Now you may instinctively think that since you're paying a lot less for Real than you are most traditional franchise-based brokerages, that you're not gonna get as much value out of it. But that is actually not the case. What it is that the franchise-based brokerages waste and spend a lot of money in order to own that franchise. By Real being cloud-based, Real is passing that savings onto you, the agent. So real quick, I wanna show you the difference in the business models between a franchise-based real estate company, so Coldwell Banker, Century 21, RE/MAX, Keller Williams, and a cloud-based real estate company like Real. This diagram is going to show you why these franchises have to charge you so much money just to stay afloat, and why Real is so affordable in comparison. So the first thing that any franchise does, all of them, so all the Coldwell Banker, Century 21, RE/MAX, is they divide the country up into regions, and then they hire a regional manager to manage each of those regions. They're then gonna go out and find franchise owners. They're gonna find brokers to sell their franchise to, and they're gonna open up offices. This is going to be your broker, going to be the franchise owner. The broker is then gonna find an office manager. In Keller Williams, we used to call this role the team leader. And they are in charge of a couple things. One is gonna be recruiting agents and also hiring staff. And that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna hire staff, they're gonna find a physical office, and they're gonna then attract agents and recruit agents to that brokerage. So when you're bringing in your commission and you're paying your cap to Keller Williams, RE/MAX, Century 21, your commission is paying for that staff at the office. They're paying for the office manager, they're paying for the franchise owner, they're paying for the regional manager, and they're paying for the big brand, Keller Williams, RE/MAX, whatever it is. This is why you have to charge so much money to run a franchise brokerage, and why their commission that they're taking from you, their cap, is so much more expensive. Now, a cloud-based brokerage did away with all of this. They did away with the office staff because you don't have a physical office, did away with the office manager, the franchise owner, and the regional manager. And instead, they have a national company that directly supports the real estate agents. And because they did away with all of this nonsense, they got rid of all of this bloat in this model, they can afford to charge us so little for our caps and give us so much extra benefits. Now, another obvious con to a cloud-based brokerage is that you are giving up your brokerage's physical office space, and there's really no way to sugarcoat that. That is just one of the trade-offs to joining a cloud-based brokerage. Now, personally, 2020 has taught me that that's just not that big of a deal. Last year, I barely went into my brokerage office at all, and I had the best year of my real estate career. Like most brokerages, all of our training was done through Facebook groups and videos. All our checks were mailed out to us. We really had no need to go into a physical office. And even my clients who I did sometimes meet at my office previously, now I just do video calls with all of them. That's how we do our buyer's consultations. It's saving them the hassle of having to drive to an office, and it's much more convenient for both them and I. And if I ever do have a client that would prefer to meet me in person, I typically just meet them at a Starbucks nearby and I buy them a cup of coffee. Giving up my office really has not changed my business significantly at all. If anything, it's more of an advantage to me because I used to commute about 25 minutes to my brokerage and another 25 minutes home. So that's almost an extra hour a day that I get to spend home with my family. And personally, I think that I'm actually more productive at home than I was at the office. At the office, I used to get distracted and talk and BS with all these other agents, and I don't have that at my home. Now, I will say this is different for everybody. I've heard people say that they do get distracted by their spouse and by their kids, and that is a valid argument. And if you are the type of agent that really needs your own dedicated office space away from the family and away from the kids, you can still rent out your own office space as an agent. It just wouldn't be within your brokerage, it'd be in a generic office building. And there are office spaces that you can rent that'll still give you access to a conference room and printer and fax machines and possibly even a receptionist. Now, one of the pros of being with Real is that you can earn stock in the Real Broker LLC just by hitting certain milestones within your real estate business. And I absolutely love this model. This makes all of us agents so much more invested in the company and so much more invested in helping each other out and helping each other grow. There's actually 4 different ways that you can earn free stock within the Real company. Now, the first way is that you can purchase it. You can allocate 5% of every commission that you make towards purchasing Real stock. And if you take advantage of this program, Real will give you for free an additional 25% of free stock. So if you buy 1,000 stocks using your commission, Real will give you an additional $250 worth of stock in the Real company. The second way is that when you pay in your $12,000 cap, Real will reward you with stocks in the company. The third way is when you recruit an agent to Real, they will again reward you with stock in the company. And finally, the fourth way is with their Elite Agent Award. Real understands that these top producing agents really attract the types of agents that they want to the brokerage, so they reward the top producing agents with the Elite Agent Reward, which right now is giving them $24,000 worth of Real stock. Now, Real is a relatively small company right now, which is when you want to get into a stock like this. Their stock is currently trading at a little above $2 a share. Now, in the last 12 months, Real has gone from 1,000 agents to 2,000 agents, actually over 2,000 agents in less than 12 months. So I really think that this brokerage is going to grow exponentially over the next few years. And I personally think that the stock is probably going to be worth a heck of a lot more 5 years from now than it is right now. So personally, I'm pretty excited about owning stock in a company that I truly believe in, like Real. Now, back on the con side, right now I do need to acknowledge that the Real brand is simply not as recognizable as some of the other brands like Remax, Century 21, and Keller Williams. And if you talk to any of those brokerages, that is a big part of what you're paying for, is being associated with that brand. And when you talk to these brokerages, they're going to give you this whole dog and pony show about how being associated with their brand and their name is going to give you more credibility, and that's going to lead to you getting more clients. Personally, I don't believe any of that. I think that in 2021, the little icon in the corner of your business card has very little to do with whether a client hires you or not. So for me personally, paying a premium and paying an outrageously high cap to a brokerage just so I can have the Remax logo or Coldwell Banker or KW logo in the corner of my business card just is not worth it. So back on the pro side, something that I am very excited about with Real is they have a very generous revenue share program for attracting agents to the brokerage. All right, and I will acknowledge that there are other brokerages out there that have a revenue share program. Keller Williams has one, EXP has one, but out of all the ones out there, none of them are as generous as Real Broker's revenue share program. Also, in my opinion, none of them have as much opportunity as Real does. So when I was with Keller Williams was the largest brokerage in the world by agent count. And they were constantly harping on us to recruit people to Keller Williams. But they are already the largest brokerage in the world. It is incredibly hard to recruit somebody to the largest brokerage and one of the most expensive brokerages. With Real being relatively small when you compare it to Keller Williams and EXP, there is a huge opportunity for growth with this brokerage. And with the very strong value proposition that Real has, being able to earn stock in the company, only having a $12,000 cap, I find it far easier to attract people to this brokerage than I ever did with Keller Williams, which I had to pay a $28,000 a year cap. So if I attract an agent to Real and they are a capping agent, they pay their $12,000 a year cap, Real's actually gonna give me $4,000 out of that $12,000 cap. So you can quickly see the opportunity for massive passive income for attracting agents to Real Boker and helping the brokerage grow. And this is what I really love about this brokerage, is that there's actually 3 ways that you can earn money as a real estate agent. One, obviously through your commissions, and you're gonna earn more commission here than you will at pretty much any other franchise-based brokerage out there. 2 is from earning stock in the company, and I really think that stock has huge potential to grow over the next 5 to 10 years. And 3 is from revenue share by attracting agents to Real Boker. So if you think that Real Boker may be a good fit for you and your business, I want you to email me at malcolm@livinginmaryland.com. We can set up a time for a one-on-one video call, and I can talk to you more about the benefits of Real Boker. And if you're not quite ready for that and you want to watch more videos about the benefits of Real Boker, check out this playlist I put together right here of some of my favorite videos about this company. And once again, feel free to email me at malcolm@livinginmaryland.com with any questions that you may have about this brokerage. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you over in the next video.